The space between us. It was a quiet, late autumn afternoon when Mia sat by the window, staring at the golden leaves scattered across her yard. She was still adjusting to the silence that followed her decision to walk away from Ethan. They had been together for 3 years, years filled with laughter, arguments, and everything in between. But something shifted, or maybe it had always been there, a growing distance she could no longer ignore. Mia didn't leave in anger. She left because she realized Ethan had stopped noticing the little things she did. The way she always brewed his coffee just right, or the notes she left in his wallet before business trips. She felt invisible. And worse, she began to lose herself. So one evening, she packed her bags and moved to a small town a few hours away. It was her attempt to rediscover who she was without him. The psychological distance. For Ethan, the first few days without Mia felt like a vacation. No arguments about clutter, no compromises on movie nights. It was peaceful. But as the days turned into weeks, he started noticing the void she left behind. The quiet mornings, once a respite, now felt hollow. His favorite mug was no longer magically clean in the cupboard. The house, though orderly, felt sterile. One evening, while scrolling through old photos, Ethan found a picture of them from a trip to the mountains. Mia's eyes sparkled with joy, and he realized how long it had been since he had truly seen that happiness in her. The memories began to flood back. The way her laugh could brighten his darkest days. The warmth of her presence, the absence was making him appreciate her more than he ever did when she was near the scarcity principle. Mia, on the other hand, was thriving. She joined a local art class, started hiking, and spent weekends reading by the lake. For the first time in years, she felt alive. She didn't block Ethan's number or delete his messages, but she didn't reach out either. She wanted him to feel the space she created, to realize that she wasn't waiting for him to fix things. Ethan, accustomed to Mia's constant presence and support, began to feel her absence more acutely. He found himself glancing at his phone, hoping for a text that never came. The certainty he had taken for granted was gone, replaced by a gnawing doubt. Did she miss him? Was she happier without him? The thought unsettled him. Challenges and nostalgia. One evening, after a tough day at work, Ethan came home to an empty house. It was raining, and the sound of droplets against the windows only amplified his loneliness. He poured himself a drink and sat in the dark, his mind drifting to the times Mia would have been there, waiting with a warm meal or a comforting hug. He missed her voice, her scent, the way she always seemed to know when he needed her most. Mia, too, thought of Ethan from time to time, but her memories were bittersweet. She missed the good moments, the late-night talks, the shared dreams. But she didn't miss the feeling of being unappreciated. Still, nostalgia has a way of softening the edges of pain. And there were nights when she wondered if she had made the right decision. The power of silence. As weeks turned into months, Ethan's attempts to reach out grew more frequent. At first it was subtle, a like on an old photo, a casual "how have you been?" text. But Mia remained polite, yet distant. She wasn't ready to let him back in, not without knowing he truly understood why she left. Ethan's frustration grew. He missed her more than ever, but he couldn't figure out how to bridge the gap. His friends noticed the change in him. He was quite quieter, more introspective. "You didn't realize what you had until it was gone," one of them remarked. And Ethan couldn't argue, realizing he lost her. One day, Ethan saw a post from Mia on social media. She was at an art exhibition, smiling beside one of her paintings. She looked radiant, confident, like someone who had moved on. It hit him like a ton of bricks. He realized she wasn't waiting for him to come back. She was living her life, and he wasn't a part of it anymore. That night, Ethan sat down and wrote her a letter. Not a text or an email, but a handwritten letter. He poured his heart out, admitting his faults, expressing his regret, and acknowledging the ways he had taken her for granted. He didn't ask for her back. He simply wanted her to know that he finally understood. Seeing her growth. Mia received the letter a week later. She read it in her cozy apartment, her heart heavy with emotion. It wasn't an attempt to win her back. It was a sincere apology. For the first time, she felt that Ethan truly saw her not as the woman who fit into his life, but as someone with her own dreams, struggles, and worth. She didn't reply immediately. Instead, she let herself process the words and the emotions they stirred. She was proud of the woman she had become. And she wasn't sure if going back to Ethan would align with the life she was building. But she also recognized the courage it took for him to admit his mistakes. The decision weeks later, Mia and Ethan met for coffee. It wasn't a reunion. It was a conversation. They talked about their lives, their growth, and the lessons they had learned by the end of it. They both knew they were different people now, people who might not fit together anymore. But they parted with mutual respect, grateful for the love they had shared and the ways it had shaped them. Mia walked away feeling lighter, knowing she had made the right choice. Ethan, though heartbroken, felt a sense of closure. He had learned the hard way that love requires presence, effort, and appreciation lessons. He vowed never to forget. The story reminds us that sometimes it takes distance to appreciate someone's worth, but the true challenge lies in valuing them while they're still by your side. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and share with others. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content. Thank you.